All right, Mr. Yuri Elkaim, welcome to the Happy Hustle Podcast, my brother. I'm super excited to connect.
Likewise, Kerry. Thanks so much for having me, and it's great connecting with you because we have so many similar friends and experiences in common. So it's great.
Yeah, man. I mean, well, you're a former pro athlete. You played soccer, as did I. We're both big soccer fans. And you're also a leading health expert, a New York Times bestselling author. You're the founder of Healthpreneur, where you help health entrepreneurs and coaches and practitioners start and scale coaching programs to create more income and freedom and better their results with their clients. But amongst those things, Yuri, and we're going to get into a lot of them, you are a happy hustler. And I'm curious, what is something interesting about Yuri that not too many people know?
Well, I don't know if this is, I lost my hair when I was 17. So, I don't like hide that. I mean, it's, public knowledge. But it's something that, people have never seen me before wouldn't know. So I share that because it's actually very interesting, building a health business. And that's the reason I got into health, is because I lost my hair to an autoimmune condition. So I wanted to figure out why that happened and how I could reverse it. And that prompted me to kind of start the journey. And I'm very, very blessed that it did happen, because I wouldn't have built my first business and I wouldn't be doing what I'm doing now had that not happened. So that's something I don't think a lot of people just at first glance would know. They might think cancer, or maybe not even think anything. I don't know. But yeah, so that would be probably something a lot of people don't know.
Yeah. I mean, well, and what's interesting is how that impacted your life and so many others, because it sent you on this quest, not only to, conquer your own health, but help other people do the same, and then build health businesses, helping more people. So it's that ripple effect. And similar with my story with the happy hustle, I basically scratched my own itch. I was so out of balance. I needed to get back in balance. And that's why I created the happy hustle, where I could be happy in my everyday hustle. So, it's super cool, that journey. Now, I do want to kick things off with a bang, Yuri. And, you have built a $217 million health coaching empire, which is super awesome and impressive. Talk to us a little bit about that journey and how'd you get to where you are today?
Yeah, I mean, I want to be very clear about that. That's 217 million that our clients have generated, right? I mean,
okay,
that's, obviously we have our revenue is a portion of that, but what I'm most excited about is what we're able to help our clients do. And I talk a lot about numbers with my clients who are health experts, and some people might see that as, oh, you're just all about the money. But the reality is that money is simply a scorecard. Right. So for health experts, pretty much all of us get into this space because we want to help other people. The challenge, though, is that a lot of health experts become martyrs in the service of others, because they think they should just give away their magic for free. But we know that when people don't pay, they don't pay attention, and no one gets helped. So our goal is about, my mission's always been, because when I went through my own journey, I went to all sorts of different practitioners and doctors, and I was always amazed at how amazing they were. Like, these guys and gals have such incredible knowledge. And I mean, if you can help someone, through their health issue, what other gift could you possibly ask for? Right. So the challenge, though, was that, they had this gift, but there's just a major lack of business acumen to be able to then reach more people. And so, obviously, having been in business for 17 years and kind of seen this, as an entrepreneur, I wanted to help more of my fellow colleagues, because I was a health professional, trainer, nutritionist, et cetera, for many years. And I just wanted to kind of bridge that gap. So they'll drop $300,000 from education and then go out of school with nothing when it comes to business acumen or marketing or anything. And it's all the best. So our whole goal with Healthpreneur was to bridge the gap, is to say, you have amazing expertise. You've done the hard work already. Let us help you build the skills so you can reach the people you want to reach without the grind and hustle, without posting on social media 27 hours a day, right? So for us, it's always been the revenue that our clients generate it's what we use to measure the impact we're creating globally or collectively. And that's the number, every single day is just, continuing to increase. And we want to keep growing that because, number one, I believe health experts should be wealthy to whatever degree they want, because they're doing that in the service of other people. It's not at the expense of them, right? So it's for us, it's really just about if we can help them build a more profitable business, we know that they can take care of themselves. The more they can fill up their cup, the more they can take care of others. And that's really that's really what we're focused on. So that's, in a nutshell, like the focus of that, if that kind of answers your question.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, and I love the quote by Tony Robbins. He says, "The secret to living is giving." And when you can give to others the power of business acumen to help them spread their message, that's a powerful gift to give. And then they can help give their gifts to others and then, inspire change both physically and mentally in terms of their health and their performance. I mean, there's just so many ripple effects that come from you, making the decision to start Healthpreneur and really grow this business.
I hope so.
Now, yeah, well, I mean, it's true, man. You're humble, but it's one of those things. There's a lot of gurus out there. I call them fake gurus. My buddy Chad coined it, but I'm gonna use it. And it's hard to know who to listen to these days because there's a lot of people out there pitching snake oil and renting Lambos and doing content in front of them. It's like, are you legit? Or are you not? I don't know, but it's hard to find good, solid people and good mentors and content that, really does add value and really works. And I know you have something with your business called the 10 core tenets. And I think this is very applicable for the happy hustlers, whether you're a healthpreneur or you're an entrepreneur or you're, a content creator, or you have a product or a service-based business. Really, I think these 10 core tenets apply. And if it's cool with you, I'd like to run through each of them and just, spread some of this awareness around these 10 core tenets, because these 10 core tenets, when I was reading through them, I'm like, this is gold. Like, this is applicable. It's universal. So let's run through the first 5 and then we'll take a break and recap, and then we can get to the second 5. Sound good?
Sure. So first one is, I mean, these tenets are really like my beliefs about life and business in general. But number one is you're responsible for your business. And I think what I've seen, not just in health and a lot of businesses, is entrepreneur does their thing. They're like, I don't want to do marketing. I'm just going to delegate it. I'm going to outsource everything. And then they're like, oh shit, this didn't work, blah, blah, blah. Yeah. And it's like, no. Like, you have to take ownership and responsibility for every aspect of your business, the good, the bad, the ugly. If there's customer issues, and even if you're not customer or client facing, it's always your fault, Yeah. And I have our core philosophy is like and thus we tell this to our clients, like, you guys are responsible for your results. It's like, if you go to school, not everyone gets an A+. Is that the teacher's fault? No, it's your fault as the student. So that's the first thing for us, is like, you, the individual, are responsible for your business. Second one is a biggie in our industry, which is the letters behind your name do not entitle you to a successful business. There's a lot of ego in the health space. As soon as you have like MD or letters behind your name, there's a lot of like, well, I'm a doctor, right? I'm like, I don't give a shit if you're a doctor, because the way I look at this is, number one, you don't have, like, being egotistical doesn't serve anyone. Like, it's not, whatever. But getting the degree, getting the letters behind your name, that's kind of like getting the quarters that allow you to play the video game. Now you got to skill up and get past level 1, right? So it's like, it kind of gives you permission to play the game because you have the skill set to now help people. But I think, at least in our space, what happens is, with a brick and mortar business, if you're a health practitioner, people walk down the street and they see your sign. They're like, oh, I'll go see chiropractor Joe. But online, that never happens. Like, there's no, I'll see your website when I'm browsing Google. Like, that's not happening. So what happens is, you have to take ownership of self-promotion, right? Marketing, getting your stuff out there. And just because you're amazingly smart at helping people, that doesn't mean you're going to have a great business. So I think that aspect of learning business as a skill, just like you did to become a health professional or any other technician, is very important. Third one is, the better you market, the less you have to sell. Again, in our space, there's, this icky connotation around selling and even marketing. No one likes to be pushy. I don't even think in any space, right? No one likes that, like, that car salesman or, the cold caller. The reality, though, is that the better you market, the less you have to sell, which means that if you can set up your business in such a way where people come to you and they're like, here's my credit card, you never have to sell. Now that's a utopian pipe dream, I think, for all of us. But whatever we can do to educate, indoctrinate, prime, warm up our market with our message, over time, it becomes easier to sell. So what happens is, if let's say you're dropped on the planet, no one knows who you are, you're going to have to sell. Like, you're going to have to do a decent job of compelling people into working with you. Obviously, it's, in their best interest. But over time, as you do a good job in your marketing, whether you're running ads or social or videos or whatever, people see your stuff over and over and over again. And you want to get to a point where people are just like, man, I've been watching your stuff for years. I'm ready to start working with you. That's the power of branding. That's the long tail. That's the long game that I think so many people want to play. But the challenge is that they play that game too early. Right? They're like doing all the social media stuff and becoming an influencer before they've even taken care of their bills. But nonetheless, the more we can put out in the world, the more goodwill we can add to the marketplace, i.e. marketing, the less we're going to have to try to twist people's arm in working with us. So that's the third core tenet. Number 4 is your success is determined by your systems. Obviously, there are other factors in success, but you can't scale what isn't systemized. And in our space, the health industry, the number one problem is burnout. So you can obviously relate to this.
Yep.
Because the model, I call it the medical matrix. Because if you've ever gone to see a health practitioner, every single time it's one-on-one, right? So if they want to grow a thriving practice, whether it's brick and mortar or online, they're trading time for money. So you can't scale that. And essentially what they've done is they're working in a clinic and they've bought themselves a job, or they're an employee in a clinic and they are, working in a job. But even the same thing happens online. If you're a coach and all of your coaching is one-on-one, like I have some people I've spoken with, they're like, yeah, the first thing I do with any new client is a 2.5 hour intake. I'm like, are you crazy? So you can only scale, you can take that to such a level. And then you're just like, I'm tapped out, right? I can't go any higher than that. So your systems, in terms of your marketing, your acquisition, your delivery, your operations, and these are all layered, like they happen over time. They don't all have to be done at the same time. But I think if more people, entrepreneurs specifically, approach their business with, my intention is to build this business as if I were to sell it, but I'm never going to sell it, as an example. Because if you build your business as if someone were to buy it, you are going to be forced to build systems and different operational procedures so that everything doesn't just rely on you. And again, some people are just maybe more naturally inclined on this, others not so much. But a big thing that we help our clients with is a fundamental acquisition system, which all of our clients follow. It works every single time, and they don't have to have a website. They don't have to have a social following. They don't have to have they could not even have an iPhone or a smartphone. And because they have a system working for them, they can still achieve the results that they want to achieve.
Yeah. Love that.
And then the fifth one here, before we take a little pause, is the more you earn, the more you can contribute. And the more you contribute, the more you will earn. So like I touched on earlier, if you can fill up your cup, like if you legitimately have more money in the bank, well, then you can contribute more in whatever the way that looks like. It could be giving back to the community. It could be hiring people. It could be putting more money behind your marketing so your message gets out there. And the more you do that, the more it comes back to you as well. So it becomes this really cool cycle. But I think a big piece of that is just being okay with making more money. As long as you're doing good in the world, there's nothing wrong with that. So that's the fifth one.
Yeah, man, those are amazing. I mean, let's run through them, recap them for the happy hustlers out there. Number 1, you are responsible for your business. I mean, that right there in and of itself, I think can, hit home to some people listening and watching on YouTube. If you're watching on YouTube, great. I mean, but the point is you have to take accountability, like for everything you have and everything you don't. Now, number 2, the letters behind your name don't entitle you to a successful business. And this could go for, not necessarily the letters, behind your name, but even your degrees or your certifications. I know people with every single Tony Robbins certification in the book and they're broke, and I'm like, why are you giving Tony all this money when you need to be applying the first one that you learned? It's like, it just shocks me sometimes. So I love that one. I think it really does resonate with some people. The third one, the better you market, the less you have to sell. And this one is super evident even in my own life and in my own business as I built my personal brand business and the Happy Hustle business and my other eco business and all these other, things that I've had a hand in. There's a tipping point where you go from doing outreach to doing inbound, like customer acquisition. And it's a beautiful tipping point, but it doesn't happen overnight. It's like built with a systematic, process, and it takes time, it takes effort, it takes money, but the better you market, the less you have to sell. That one is a really great takeaway for everyone universally. The fourth, your success is determined by your systems. I had to have like my team do a whole SOP overhaul, which they weren't happy, but I was like, hey, if you don't get your SOPs in, guys, there's going to be financial penalties. So, I think SOPs are really important. I'll be the first one to admit I'm not like the organized, SOP
none of us visionaries are, right?
Yeah, exactly. But that's why it's important to have other people who can, fill that void. But your system's really important, guys. Make sure you have those in check. And then the more you earn, the more you can contribute. I mean, that is, that's something where I think people have to really look at like their money story and rewiring some of those self-limiting beliefs, because, some people have grown up, I know I did, very frugally, very humble roots, like money doesn't grow on trees. I was getting quarters and pennies and nickels and dimes from my dad's little coin jar for lunch money. He like made us earn everything, and I'm grateful for it. But like, I think once you can divorce that self-limiting story and marry the truth, which is there's abundance out there for everyone, and when you can achieve that abundance, then you can give from your overflow to other people, as you said, Yuri. So really great points there. And I'll just kind of give you a moment to open up if you have any, rebuttals to any of the five.
No, I love that. I think the only thing, just in listening to you recap that I would add to the letters behind your name do not entitle you to a successful business. I would add to that, your experience doesn't entitle you to a successful business, because it's very easy. Like I could sit back and say, well, I have this great background and all this whatever experience, and I've been in business for 17 years, and I could play that card forever and just kind of expect this sense of entitlement, like I deserve, like for the rest of my life to be taken care of. And it's like, no. Every single day you wake up, you have to earn it, right? Whatever happened yesterday served you yesterday. Like it certainly
exactly
helps. It helps. Like you talked about, like, the longer you're in business, the easier it gets. I think longevity is one of the most underrated but most important success sauces, if you will. Like just being in business for decades. Like, number one, you can't survive if you're in business. If you're in business for decades, you're doing something right? But it gives you an unfair advantage. Like people love certainty, and they want to know that whatever establishment or business they're doing business with has been around, is going to be around. I just think it just gives, there's a real advantage to being around a long time. So, but again, it's not that like I've been around, therefore I'm entitled to this. It's like every day you got to wake up and work. You have to work. You have to earn. Like this is a belief that I have, at least. Like you got to earn your keep every day, because someone else is going to be working harder than you if you're not.
Yeah, you sparked this quote. My good buddy Rory Vaden says, your reputation precedes your revenue. And so when you are in business and you have longevity, you have a reputation. We all have a reputation. All the happy hustlers out there right now, you have a reputation, and it's what people say about you when you're not around, right? Yeah. And your reputation often precedes revenue. Are you operating with integrity? Are you doing things right, and like really leading with that service over self mindset, giving value first? Or are you, only looking to be a taker and like see what this person can give you? Because that stuff, people's BS meters are high these days, and you'll get ousted real quick, and people, oh, this guy's a taker, I don't want him in my inner circle, or this girl, it really is an important point, the longevity component. So I'm glad you mentioned it. Now, Yuri, let's hear the last five, the last five core tenets.
Yep. So number 6 is your business can be a transformation catalyst for your community. So I have a big belief that community heals. I think in respect to health, we know that isolation kills. Like if you're alone, you're not going to live as long as if you're around other people, right? The blue zones of the world, they live to 100 plus. They all have community. It's very, very important. So a business, whether it's online or brick and mortar, I think a big component of that is creating community. And we've heard the saying, like when it comes to like membership sites and stuff, like people come for content, they stay for community. I think it's just like such a great reminder that content will only take you so far. But if you can create a tribe of people that when they come in, they're like, man, I've found my people, like benefit that gives them and in ways we can't even fathom a lot of times is just, I think that's one of the biggest assets in your business if you can create that. And I think we all can, right? I mean, if you've got a group of clients or customers or whatever, like you're creating community in some way, shape, or form. Number 7 is if it's all in your head, your business is dead. So this kind of ties back to systems a little bit. I just shot a video earlier about how to clone yourself. And I had this question come up 4 times in the past 2 days, which is like, how do I train how do I get people to do my sales calls? Or how do I train my coaches to train my clients on sales, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. And it's like, well, that's a cloning issue, which basically means if everything you know is in your head, you have no way of duplicating your efforts. So you have to start off by extracting your knowledge. And I think we all do this if we're writing a book or if we're creating a course or if we're creating a coaching program, we're essentially doing that. And so we're not having these random one-off conversations. Like there's a structure to how we help people. And then the same thing applies to hiring and training team members is, all right, here's a job to be done. Here's how we do it. Coach them, train them, feedback, etc. But if everything you know how to do is in your head, you'll always be tied to the clock. And, you're going to burn out and you can't scale that, right? I mean, just imagine McDonald's. Like I watched the
exactly
again with my son. And I think it's such an example on so many levels of what we're talking about here. Number 8 is you can dominate your market by being just a little bit better. This I could go on for hours about. I don't know about you, Carrie, but like there are very few businesses, establishments, airlines, restaurants that I go to that I've frequented. I'm like, man, that was amazing. It's like, well, that was mediocre in terms of the service, right? You get on airlines and it's just so subpar. It's just annoying how bad and mediocre most businesses are. But businesses are a reflection of people. And I think there's a lot of mediocre people in this world. And I say that with all due respect, but I think that's the biggest pandemic is mediocrity and settling for okay. And I think we saw this during the pandemic with people, a lot of workers deciding to stay at home because they were getting money from the government instead of showing up at work and doing stuff. I'm like, that's a parasitic mindset. Like I have zero tolerance for that stuff. And I think the opportunity that provides is you can just do things just a little bit better and you're like miles ahead of most businesses. Like I was at a trampoline park with my kids 2 weeks ago. They had a great time, but I'm like sitting in there watching them. And I'm like, I'm surrounded by, empty water bottle on the bench, garbage on the floor. And there's a bunch of teenagers that are the employees here. I'm like, guys, like I would never hire you guys. Like you see this stuff on the ground. And even if it's out of your jurisdiction, you could walk over and pick it up. And I think this mindset of like, well, that's out of my scope. I'm not going to do it. Or that's not in my job description or whatever it is. I think it's just, I don't even think most people do their job properly anyway. So I think as a business owner, having the approach of how can I make this a little bit more special for people? Like you'll like, there's just so much opportunity just by being a little bit better. So that's number 8. Number 9, this is a big one. Business growth always follows personal growth. So if your business isn't growing, it's really simple. How are you not growing? Right? Are you still stuck with the same problem you had last year? If so, your revenue and business is probably at the same level. If you've had exponential growth, you've probably had exponential personal growth. And I don't know if you've experienced this, Carrie, but I'll tell you, like in our business, it's all about people. Like, I was in the mastermind I'm a part of. They're like, where are you stuck? I'm like, I'm not really stuck anywhere. It's just the people thing. I just continually need better people. That's it. Right? Like we have the systems, we know what we're doing. We just constantly need to have better people, and that's it. And, I think so we look, okay, like it's one thing to learn to become the doer in your business, but all right, what's the next evolution? Like you have to learn how to lead, hire, manage people. You have to learn how to have difficult conversations. Like these are things that I don't enjoy doing, but I've had to learn them, and I continue to get better at them because I realize, like, if I'm not, as an example, being frank and honest to someone about their performance because I don't want to be that guy who's disliked, well, then that's not helping anyone. That's not helping the business. That's not helping them grow. So you have to really, like, especially as your business evolves and when there's a lot more kind of people to people stuff, hard conversations, that's when it starts getting really interesting. At least that's been my experience. So that personal growth of like, let me figure this stuff out myself is very important, as opposed to like jumping from, well, it was his fault, he wasn't good enough, or she wasn't good enough, or going like in a relationship. Like you leave a relationship, like my brother has been in the same relationship 4 times with 4 different people.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Like, dude, what's the commonality here? It's you, right?
Yeah, so, exactly.
And the last one here is solopreneurs suffer. So you can only go so far by yourself. I don't know really anyone who's built a significant business on their own. I think there's certain business models that might be a little bit easier in terms of like less overhead people wise, but even then, I mean, at the minimum, you need some type of assistance. So I think at the end of the day, like you have to figure out what type of business you want to build. Some people want to build giant companies with hundreds of employees. Other people just want a VA. You just have to find what resonates with you. And don't worry if like this guy does this or this gal does that. Like do you, but just understand like you by yourself can only take you so far.
Yeah. Amen to that, man. I mean, what do they say? If you want to go fast, go alone. If you want to go far, go together. I mean, those were great though. Let's recap again, starting with number 6. I mean, your business can be a transformation catalyst for your community. And this one is a powerful takeaway. You said community heals. And I love that, man. I really think, and that's why I host my Montana Mastermind Epic Camping Adventures that parlay into, more regular meetings. And, that's why I've hosted masterminds. That's why I'm part of masterminds, as you are, as you mentioned, because community heals when you have that safe container where you can be raw, be real, work through adversities, share wins. There's something that happens inside those containers that really does heal, but also, exponentially grows your business and yourself. So that's a great takeaway there, man. Number 7, if it's in your head, your business is dead. This goes back to, again, systems and SOPs. That is one thing that I'm very intentional on. When I have a task that I've repeated multiple times, I write it down. And I think that's a really important thing. And also I have like a 2-minute rule. So if I can do the task in under 2 minutes, I don't think about it. I just do it, and unless I'm in like a focused flow work block, but I think that's really important takeaway there. Number 8, you can dominate your market by just being a little bit better. And this one really, for all the happy hustlers out there, like this was inspiring hearing Yuri talk about it. I don't know if you guys felt inspired. I did. I'm like, oh man, you're right. Like you could just a little bit better and you'll win raving fans for life. And I give an example of a company that I'm affiliated with, a great company. I was sick with this carbon monoxide poisoning, and they sent me like a whole soup and like a spoon, and like it had cookies and rolls, and it's like little things. They didn't have to send the soup, it's like in a card and everything. It's like those little touches is what separates good companies from great companies, and clients from like raving fans, lifelong customers. So that's a really great takeaway there. Number 9, business growth always follows personal growth. And I would for sure, echo that point. I have a 90-minute system of personal growth that I implement Monday through Fridays. 30 minutes of reading something inspirational in the morning, 30 minutes of listening to something inspirational and educational in the afternoon, and then 30 minutes of watching something inspirational and educational in the evening. And there, I'm make sure I'm trending the right way all week, every week. It's
awesome.
It's little, and if 90 minutes seems overwhelming, start with just 15, but just start, because personal growth is what, will actually make you a fortune, not, like education and that system. It's just really important to make sure you're always growing and evolving. And then number 10, solopreneurs suffer. This is something I always laugh at when people say, yeah, I'm a self-made millionaire. I'm like, no, you're not. No one is. Freaking liar. It's like,
yeah,
you're just not. You are standing upon the shoulders of giants, as am I. We all learn from others, and we have mentors and coaches. Like, can you think of one person who's self-made, Yuri? I don't know.
Yeah, I was just thinking of even soccer, like, Cristiano Ronaldo, any soccer players, any athletes who've been on the podium.
Yeah.
Like, it's delusional to think that they got there by themselves.
Exactly.
They had coaches and coaches and coaches.
Yeah.
I mean, like, no one does it by themselves. No one.
Yeah. You need a team. You need support. And I have a rule, and the happy hustlers who've listened to the show before know this. If they haven't, welcome y'all. But one thing that I'm really, deliberate on is I don't take advice from people I wouldn't trade places with, both personally and professionally. And I think a lot of people take advice from people who they trade places with professionally. And then you see their home life, it's in shambles. Their wife hates them. Their kids aren't even, like, they're so disconnected. They're not like functioning members of society. I know you got 4 boys, which is awesome. I'm trying to put a couple babies in my fiance very soon. And hopefully I'm shooting for 2 twin boys. Yeah, no, I want twins. I want to knock a 2-for-1 special. Anyway, the point is, you got to just realize who you're taking advice from, who you want to surround yourself with, that inner circle, and really be deliberate with who you are learning from, and make sure that you're building a team around you, even if it is, like you said, you have a VA or 2 or 3. I got 4 VAs that are rock stars, and me and a bunch of like outsourced, professionals, but that's pretty much my team. And, I typically work about 20 hours per week, and that's my sweet spot. That's where I want to be. That's the business I built, because I defined my version of success. When I want to go fly fishing, as I did yesterday in the middle of the day, I can go. When I can go horseback riding or snowboarding or any of the things, and that's what you have to define your version of success, I think. And then you have to build the team around that version. Right. Now, those were great, man.
I want to just touch on that. Like you mentioned, not taking advice from, certain people you wouldn't want to trade places with. I think this is one of the hardest things for people to understand, because context is so important. And most people don't see the full context of anyone. It's like, so we see, let's say on social media, every 3rd or 4th post is an ad. Okay, I got to do this now and this now and this. Like, we have no clue what's happening behind their businesses. Right? Oh, this person's doing a free book funnel. I should do a free book funnel. Really? Like, do you know the numbers behind that funnel? Like, do you know how long they're, losing money for, or breaking even, whatever? That it's really, and especially for new-ish entrepreneurs who don't have the full picture of the landscape, it's really tricky, right?
Mm-hmm.
It's like, I don't hunt, but I'm just, for whatever reason this came to mind. If you were hunting for the first time, you would have zero clue versus someone who's been hunting for a decade, right? And it's really hard to know who to take advice from. And I think, honestly, one of the, I don't even want to call it a shortcut. I think you have to listen to your intuition. You have to listen to your gut. And I think a lot of people mute that. They're like, and I don't mind when someone, whether they're, inquiring to work with us or anything they want to do in life, if it's a no, and it's a no, that's great. It's a no. But if it's a hell yes, and you're afraid, that's where you got to step into that. And I think that's where a lot of people, I don't want to say lose their life, or they kind of squash their dreams because they're afraid. And fear is the biggest thing that holds all of us back, whether it's a business decision or anything else in life. again, if it's a no, it's a no, right? But if it's a hell yes, and you know it is, but you're afraid to move forward because of uncertainty, you got to do that. Like you have to follow that gut feel. And I think that gets easier with time and just honoring that more and more.
Yeah, man. Yeah, you can't let the fear hold you back. That's a really great point. Now, Yuri, I do want to run through some of my traditional happy hustle hack questions. And these are, in a couple different disciplines. First being health, because you know a ton about health. You're, pro athlete and you are an ex-pro athlete, but you still got it, in many regards, like you take it very seriously. What?
I like to think so.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, it's one of those things you don't lose that tenacity. I know I don't, at least, or I haven't. What is a happy hustle hack that you can share with the happy hustlers? Maybe a tip, a tool, a tactic, something that you do that's a little unique that we can, potentially apply as happy hustlers.
I would say the one thing that's changed so many aspects of my life that I'm very frustrated I currently do not do is taking an ice bath every morning. So just quick story. So in our previous house, I had a gym in our garage and I had this space. I was like, I'm going to create an ice bath. And I decided to DIY it. So I took a chest freezer, converted. There's this whole subculture online.
I had one.
Yeah, dude, like it was a game changer. I'd get up at 4 a.m, right into the ice. So like for me, it was about 4 degrees Celsius. So I don't even know what that is, Fahrenheit, 45 or something.
Yeah.
And I'm in there for 3 minutes at 4 a.m. And it's so challenging, but the best, it's just like the mental benefits, but also I was dealing with a bit of a back issue at the time. And I was going to see my chiropractor 2-3 times a week. And all of a sudden, within the space of a week, I'm like, what changed? And I was obviously just doing the ice baths when I started. Yeah. And my back pain was like gone, never to return. Yeah. It's like, so we moved about a year ago and the setup we have now is not really conducive to that. So we actually use the chest freezer as a chest freezer now. But I'm looking to get a cold tub that we can put outside because I'm like, it was just the best.
Yeah, you gotta
recovery. You gotta oh my God, the best.
I do one pretty much every day. I live real close to the hot springs here. So I go thermal, natural water, and then right into the cold tub, which is, right around 40-ish. And then the hot is like 120. So it's like a hot and cold thermogenesis with a steam and a sauna.
So good.
The remedy. That's great, man. Let's talk about money. I always like to talk about money. It's a tool, it's a frequency. I'm sure you made a bunch. I'm sure you lost a bunch. What is a happy hustle hack in regards to money that you can share? Maybe something you do to help you save or invest or spend wisely.
Yep. This took me almost 30 years to learn is pay yourself first. And it's something I get my kids, I'm like indoctrinating my kids with this. So like for my kids, half of everything they get, whether it's birthday money or anything else, immediately goes into savings. Now, obviously, savings with inflation is just like rendered useless, but we actually invest their money for them. So 50% of the money. So if they get $20 as a birthday gift from someone, it's like, cool, here's 10. We're taking 10. We're investing it in this thing. And perfect. Yep. We want them to be the ones to hand the money to us, because if we just did it for them, they're not associated with that. So I want them to build that habit early on, because when I was in my late teenage years, I sold appliances. That was my first job. I was a bartender. I probably made so much money relative, and I have nothing to show for any of that stuff, right? And I had way too much debt early on in my life, and it took me a very, very long time to become fiscally responsible. I would say I'm a very aggressive. I can tolerate a lot of risk. So I'll just say I'm not frugal with my money in certain aspects. But in our business, there's a percentage of every single dollar that our business makes that goes immediately into profit, right? Right off the top. It's not like if we have room for it, it's like right off the top into profit, which is something that is my, reward for running a business, if you will, aside from my salary, right? I think that is just so important, because there's so much money we do not capture in this world in our lifetime if we don't do that, because there's always someone else to pay, right? Pay off your bills, credit cards, taxes, whatever. You got to pay yourself first.
Yeah, pay yourself first, man. Great point. I love that. And I actually have mine automated. So mine just automatically takes from my accounts and it just goes right into different buckets, whenever money does come, boop, automated.
Best.
Yeah. Let's talk about spirituality too. I want to ask you a happy hustle hack in this arena, maybe something that you do to connect with the higher power. I don't necessarily care one God or another, but I just think it's important to, be spiritually connected and have faith in something bigger than yourself. Do you have a happy hustle hack in this arena you can share?
I don't know if it's a hack or a daily habit. It's more of just like a way of being for me, to be honest. Like, I don't meditate every single day. For me, I go for a walk. That's meditation. If I'm working out and I get in the zone, that's meditation. I would say I'm not religious, but I'm very spiritual. Like, I do believe that the universe always has my back. I feel fully guided every step of the way. I think what I've realized in my journey is, like, a lot of people who've been through some really traumatic experiences end up being very evolved humans. I have a team member who lost her parents early-ish in life, and she's an amazing human because of that. I've met a lot of, like, I wouldn't say like losing my hair was like, losing a parent, but when you go through certain traumas in life, I think you're forced to find meaning in certain ways. And I think my blessing was losing my hair when I was 17, because a lot of people are like, oh my God, that must have been so bad. I'm like, actually, not really. Like, there's way worse. Yeah. And maybe I had that perspective before, I don't know, but I think I always feel it's everything is happening for us. There's no good, there's no bad. It's just, it is. And I think this was a lesson I really wish I had harnessed earlier on in my business journey, because early in business, it was like, if I don't hit this goal, it's a failure, right? If we don't make this amount of money, whatever. And now it's like, we had 2 really bad months, December, January this year. And I got kind of pissed off because I'm like, all right, that's never going to happen again. But it wasn't like they were bad months. They were learnings and challenges that have helped us grow exponentially since then. So our whole culture in our company stems from like, hey, like, something bad happens. It's not bad. It happened. And let's give thanks to that, because now we get to grow through it. And that's just how I live my life. I mean, I call it delusional optimism. It's like,
I'm in the same boat, man.
Dude, like, it's this weird thing where you have to be grounded in reality, but live in the clouds.
Yeah. Well, and just your one mindset on, like, I live very similarly. Like, everything happens for a reason. It happens for us, not to us. When you don't become the victim, but rather the victor, you actually can supersede any adversity, and it does make you stronger. So really great takeaways there, man. Now let's run through the rapid fire round, and then we'll wrap this interview up. This is essentially where I ask you random things and you answer honestly, first thing that comes to mind. Are you ready?
Let's do it, buddy.
All right. Favorite food? Go.
Pizza.
Favorite movie?
Nacho Libre.
Favorite book?
Man, let's go with Influence by Cialdini.
Favorite workout?
Favorite workout? I'm going to just say Peloton lane break, because that's, I enjoy that.
Nice.
Yeah.
Best business advice?
Best business advice? Always invest in yourself.
What's your spirit animal?
Spirit animal, probably be a lion.
3 things you're most grateful for?
3 things?
Yeah.
My health, my wife, my kids.
And if you had a billboard for the world to see with your last piece of content on it, what's that billboard read?
It used to be the signature in my emails. I don't know if it is anymore, but it's be the change you wish to see in the world. I think that was a Gandhi
Mic
quote.
Drop. Boom. Yuri, crushed that rapid fire round, brother. And I just want to take a moment, man, to acknowledge you for sharing your love, your light, your wisdom with myself and the Happy Hustlers, man. And just keep showing up as, the shining bright light that you are. Because, I think you, by helping yourself and now helping others, especially helping coaches and healthpreneurs all around the world, are helping such a massive amount of people. It's a powerful message, man. And I just appreciate you for sharing, your 10 core tenets and everything around it. So thank you.
Thanks, Kerry. Thanks for having me. This has been great.
Yeah, man. Now, any last words that you want to say to the Happy Hustlers? And go ahead and mention where's the best place for everyone to, learn more about you, or maybe they want to learn more about Healthpreneur. Maybe they are a Healthpreneur and want to get, involved or follow you online. Give us some links as well.
Yeah. I mean, if you want to connect, Instagram is probably where I'm a little bit more accessible, if you will. So that's at Healthpreneur. And then you can also watch any of my videos on YouTube. The Healthpreneur stuff is more business related. All my other stuff from the past is more fitness and nutrition related. And then just the final word, just like in context with the happy hustle is, I think there's a time in our journey where there is a bit of a hustle, but that can't be forever, right? So just do your best to understand like where you are in your journey, what season of life you're in. Is it a season to plant the seeds? Is it a season to reap the harvest? And understand that you can't just keep grinding forever because that's only for the pepper mill.
Yep. Love that. Now, final question, Yuri. What does happy hustling mean to you?
To be honest, I love working. I love what I do. And I've had the contrast of doing nothing and it drove me crazy. And so for me, the happy hustle is, it used to be work less and it evolved into do more of what you want to do. And that just happened to be doing stuff in my work, my business that I love doing. So I work, 8 to 12-hour days sometimes. But in that time, like I spent an hour playing soccer outside with my 3-year-old today. Went for an hour and a half walk. For me, business and life, it's all one and the same. I got to walk my kids to school. Listen to a cool kind of walking meditation on the way home. And then I got into work, shot a video while I was out. Like it's all one and the same. So for me, happy hustle is it's doing work you love. And I think yes, like relationships and health, all that stuff is a blessing. But I think if you can find a vocation, like work-wise, contribution-wise, that you love, that you jump out of bed in the morning for, man, like that is going to propel you through life in ways that can't even be measured. Like you're going to live to 200 because you just love every day because of contributing and growing and learning new things. For me, that's what the happy hustle is.
Boom. Yuri Elkaim, y'all. Crushed it. Thanks for watching and listening. We are out. Peace and love, y'all.